Hello everyone, Mr. Harper here, and let's continue our discussion on the parts of a leaf and their purposes, the anatomy and the physiology of leaves. So we finished this diagram here the last class we met. And I want to remind you of some things. You have on a leaf a cuticle on the top and also on the bottom, and the cuticle's job is to help prevent water loss from the leaf. And then underneath that, a single layer of cells, the epidermis, that protects and lets things in and out of the cell too. In and out of the leaf. You also have epidermis on the bottom layer. Embedded in the epidermis are guard cells. Here's two of them. They surround a pore or an opening in the leaf called a stoma. And then right underneath of the upper layer of the epidermis, you have a layer of cells called the palisade mesophyll. They're like in a tightly packed row, and these are the cells that do the majority of photosynthesis. They have a lot of a pigment called chlorophyll in them that soaks up the sunlight and does photosynthesis. Below that is a loose layer of cells called the spongy mesophyll. The spongy mesophyll has openings or holes or pore spaces in between the cells where gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide can move throughout the leaf through these openings. And then you have a layer of vascular tissue. This is called a vascular bundle. On the top of the vascular bundle you have xylem. Those are the tubes that move water up from the roots to the leaves. And on the bottom of the layer you have a layer of cells called the phloem, and those are a bunch of tubes there that move food both up and down around the plant. So those are the major parts. So let's continue our discussion. Let's talk about transpiration today. So we're going to talk about these mesophyll cells, especially the spongy mesophyll. Their walls are kept moist so that gases can enter and leave the cells easily. Carbon dioxide that is taken into the plant needs that carbon dioxide to do photosynthesis, goes through the moist cell layers, the epidermal layers of those cells in the spongy mesophyll, goes into those cells so that the leaf can use that carbon dioxide. Extra oxygen that is made in the cells go through the epidermis of the spongy mesophyll cells, gets into that empty space in between so that it can eventually be exited from the plant. Now, additionally, so what is transpiration? Transpiration is the loss of water through the leaf. Okay? Transpiration is water leaving the leaf through the stomata. That water has to be replaced by water that is drawn up from the roots. It's taken in through the roots from the ground. It's drawn up through the roots, up the stem, and out to the leaves. And here's the process. So water is constantly being pulled in through the roots, up the stem, into the leaves, and then it is evaporated through the leaf, out of the plant. Now, think about this, and here it is going on here. If you get really hot and you start to sweat, if say you're working or something outside, or you're playing sports or something, if you sit down and you cool off, you don't stay wet. That sweat that was on your skin evaporates. It turns from a liquid to a gas. And think about water. If you have a pan of water and you want to make that water evaporate, you have to heat it up. Put it on the stove, for example, it would start to boil, and it would all boil away, evaporate from a liquid to a gas. The same thing is happening on the surface of your skin. When water in sweat evaporates off of your skin, it requires heat to do that. And so when a liquid turns into a gas, it takes heat from your body for that to happen. That's how sweating helps you to cool down, by evaporating. Well, the same thing happens on the surface of plant leaves. When water evaporates out of the plant leaf, it cools the plant down too. So transpiration helps to cool leaves on a hot day, but it can threaten the survival of the plant if water is scarce. If water pressure drops too much, the plant begins to wilt. Here's a tomato plant that is wilting. Water in those stems and water in the leaves is what holds that plant erect. That stem, that soft stem of that tomato plant, is held up by water pressure. And if you lose water pressure, then the stem no longer can hold itself up and it droops. Same thing for the leaves. The leaves begin to droop. And you can reverse this by simply giving this tomato a good drink of water on the soil so that the roots can take up water and restore the pressure in those stems and leaves, and it will be fine. If you let it go too long, though, the plant can die. Now, let's talk about gas exchange and homeostasis. Homeostasis is a fancy term for saying that everything in the plant has to stay stable in order for it to stay alive. Think about homeostasis of your body. Your body temperature has to stay right around 98.6. Can't go too high, can't go too low. You get sick if it does, and if it goes too out of control, you could actually die. So you have to maintain some homeostasis. The amount of water in your body has to stay about the same. The amount of water in plants' bodies have to stay about the same. So here's what they do. They keep their stomata open just enough to allow photosynthesis to take place, but not so much that they lose a ton of water. Because every time they open their stomata, water is leaving the leaf through evaporation. The hotter it is, the faster that happens. But they need to have their stomata open because the stomata, through those pores, is how carbon dioxide gets into the leaf. And the plant has to have carbon dioxide in order to do photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the plant making its food. So if it doesn't open its stomata, it can't do photosynthesis. And if it can't do photosynthesis, it's going to literally starve to death. But if it opens its stomata too much on a hot day when there's not much water, maybe it hasn't rained much, if it opens its stomata too much, then it can lose too much water and die from lack of water. So it's got a balancing act to play to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis of, do I have enough water in me? And homeostasis of, do I have enough food? So both those things are important to the plant because the leaf, like I said, takes in carbon dioxide and gives off oxygen during photosynthesis. So when they use the food they make, their cells respire, they take in oxygen and give off carbon dioxide. That happens for the cells, but overall, the leaf is taking in carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen. So here's the guard cells, and here's the stoma. Stoma is one. If you have a whole ton of them, we call them stomata. When this is open, water in the form of water vapor, a gas, is leaving the leaf. When the stomata is open, carbon dioxide is coming in so the plant can do photosynthesis. If the plant dries out too much, the stomata will close. By closing, the guard cells, I should say, will close, which closes the stomata. So here's what I said earlier. If the stomata were kept open all the time, water loss due to transpiration would be so great that the plants probably would not survive unless they live in a very, very, very moist area, like maybe the rainforest or something, where they can take in water all the time. All right, so the important thing I want you to remember from this lesson, the stomata are pores in the leaf. When the stomata are open, the plant loses water through transpiration. And this is important. The plant needs to do that because it helps pull water up to the leaves. But they can't lose too much. If they lose too much, they could die from drying out, not having enough water in them. But they need to have the stomata open in order to do photosynthesis, because photosynthesis says they take sunlight and carbon dioxide and water, and they make their own food from that. So if the stomata are closed, they can't get enough carbon dioxide, they're not going to be able to do photosynthesis. So it's a balancing act. They have to have it open enough to do photosynthesis, but not enough that they dry out. Not so much, rather, that they dry out. We'll talk more next time.